Cool. So this is, we're building a new website for our library. Currently, we're at hamstercountylibrary.com. It's not public, you have to be logged in to see it. But we're using the bookshelves plugin. So these are, I don't remember what, we're going to have this set up to be like new adult picks sorted by most recent, limit to 20, so that, we'll have the newest books on here. And then we have it set up also, we have like an adult page. We have different age ranges, so we're going to use our collection codes to see this is still in progress very much. But we're going to have one on here for like picture books by collection code, new ones, and then do like J fiction and nonfiction for the school age kids, and YA fiction and nonfiction for the teens. But then we
I don't like the
also
blah, 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 blah. I think you should just leave it like that.
Here it's
oh wait, that's not
like Peanuts type blurred photo behind it. So just walk, 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 walk.
And then we also we're getting new book club kit pictures. So right now, I think this is just one of the other ones, but this is going to have our book club kit. We have some really nice pictures. Only some of them are in so far, but for our book club kits, we just got new pictures taken.
So how is the plugin going to get the pictures from Koha?
So you can put in biblio numbers instead of
instead of the way Christopher showed how to set it up. You use a different.
Yeah, so instead of, I can show how to do that. Let me find, I think she's only put in like one of the, oh yeah, here's the new ones. So it'll pull these nice pictures that we had taken in instead, but we only have them for a couple of them right now. Yeah, so for the bookshelves here, whenever I'm in Zoom, this takes forever to load, or it's much slower, which is kind of funny because I do most of my website work while we're on meetings about websites. So if you look at like the book club kits draft, I think this one's not published anywhere. So you set up the retrieve items for web service, and you set up Koha reports web service. But then, well, why don't I just go find a report? I might even have a report that's just not done yet, because we were, well, maybe not. What was I calling? Cover flows for the website. Oh yeah, so you can do, I don't know if you guys talked about this, but you can do ones that have parameters in the reports. And actually this is probably easier to just find that because I know I've got it in here in one of the other ones. I mean, it's just BC. Because you can run parameters through the JSON, which is kind of nice because then you don't have to make a report for like everything. You can just be like, here's the games and puzzles one, and it uses the same report. And it has two parameters because some of them had the same parameter or didn't have the same. We wanted to use two different item types on the same. This one will probably set to run like once a week because we don't update, or even once a week probably because we're the report doesn't show ones that are marked like with librarian or lost, so that because they can't put holds on those ones. So mending or lost, damaged or lost statuses. And then, so here's the preview. There's only one that has a local cover image, so that's the only one that's showing up right now. But when we have the rest of the local cover images in, they'll all show up. So, and then yeah, we have like new books for each of our branches. So items that have the new book item type at each branch for our branch pages. And that's similarly, those have like a parameter. So it's just one report instead of having to make a bunch of reports for the plugin. So that's how we're using bookshelves. I can show, I guess, how that looks on the branch pages as well. And Lucas is back, I see. And we've got like, here's new on the shelves in Bovill. And I think that the new on the shelves ones, those even might limit to only ones that are available on the shelves right now, not checked out, not in transit. So that if someone wants to kind of like browse what's there and then go pick it up, they can. So yeah, that's how we're using the bookshelves. And yeah, to make the local cover images show, you just put biblio number in instead of ISBN. Which also the person who made the thing is great. It didn't do that. And then I emailed and I was like, hey, is there a way to pull local cover images? Because we want to use this for kits that are stored in Koha. And he emailed back and was like, yeah, here, update the plugin and then it'll do that. Like 2 days later. So, and he's been really good about other questions that I had. Like I emailed him about the title thing, which I asked on one of the YouTube comments about if there was a way to make the title show underneath, because right now it doesn't. And he said, not right now, but it's something that he's working on. So.
It's cool.
Because that's a WordPress plugin, there's not any way to get that to where it would work within Koha, is there? Because that gives you a WordPress shortcode, but that.
There is a cover flow plugin for Koha.
Yeah. And we're actually using a different thing, but I liked that one. I just wondered if that could be used within Koha.
No, but I think it uses an open.
Barbara, are you also using WordPress for the library public website?
Yeah, we have WordPress for the website. And right now we're using it's a library thing for libraries widget. And we're using that on both in Koha and on the website.
So I bet it'd be nice to just have one thing.
Yeah.
It uses the Slick, which if I recall correctly, is that also what the Coverflow uses Slick? Maybe?
The Coverflow uses jQuery's Flipster.
Oh, Flipster, that's what it is. I was just wondering, like, oh, I wonder if you could put in, you know, similar, like if you like how it looked, similar CSS, which I mean, you could probably still do.
One thing I don't care for about cover flow, and it may be just me, but as it rolls through the contents, when it gets to the end, you've got a big, blank space until it it's not like a carousel that goes in a total circle. It's like it goes to the end and then it shuffles back, if I'm explaining that right.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay. At least someone does. I would love it to always have content on the screen and not have blanks at any time.
I used the Inlibrio's carousel for a while. And it kind of does that. It just kind of puts the books on a thing and it spins.
Was that that bookshelf plugin? It only has the one layout. Like it only lets you do carousels, or does it allow you to do like grids and stuff too?
Oh yeah, you can do grids and stuff. In fact, that's how, here, let me find one, because we've got a bunch of like kits, and I think on those pages we're gonna set them up as grids. Let me share my screen again.
If there was a Thursday video on this, I didn't watch it, so it was probably covered there too.
I don't remember if you guys talked about the.
No, we talked about how Christopher's using the plugin on his locations because he was using it there.
So this is like the grid view that we have. Some of our backgrounds are different colors, so that's getting fixed before we. Actually, I think some of these might be getting new pictures too, because like that birds of a color has kind of some weird stuff going on. These are our itty bitty brain boxes. Wait, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Usually it has like a green line around the screen when I'm sharing, but that hasn't been happening all the time. And I don't think that this is on anything right now, but so you can set, there's plugin global settings, which are set to not be a grid. And then you can also say use custom settings. So this has like tabbing and arrow key navigation. So if it's not, if you want to make people use the arrows, you can, or if not, if you just want people to be able to use the arrow keys to navigate it. We don't have autoplay of slides on because nothing's moving. It's all visible on the grid. And so let's see, where do you set that? These are all a bunch of this, yes, the options. Oh yeah, so you set like how many rows and how many slides per row. If it's more than one row, it turns into grid mode. And if it's one row, then it's just a carousel. And then you can also do like, let's see here. Oh yeah, so there's like some custom responsive if you want to tweak how responsive it is. You can also have it link directly to an ebook catalog if you want. So if you wanted to do like an overdrive slider, you could, but I think you'd have to still have like overdrive isn't an option here, I guess, unless the other maybe has a way where you could like pull in stuff that was available on overdrive right now. I have enough other stuff to work on that I might look into that later, but for now we're just trying to get the website functional so we can get off of Joomla, which is our Joomla website is degrading because our support company isn't very good for Joomla.
So you're saying you feel degraded being on Joomla?
No, the website does fun things like if you go to log into the back end, you can't actually log in on the back end because we have the wrong version of something. Oh, my remote connection died. So instead, we have to go to a specific link that lets us override that to log in. To bypass the main login page.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's the Walla Walla web weavers.
Yeah. And I mean, part of it's just because we didn't negotiate for good support when we made the contract with them 5 years ago. So we have to pay every time we need to upgrade anything. And it's a lot of money. And yeah, so we've done that a couple times. Also, things don't go well when we upgrade with them. And then we have to call them 12 times before they call us back. Sorry, rant over.
I was just back on topic. I was just thinking I could use that to maybe replace my whole setup on our website for puppets, but not sure because I do have like the titles there, and I have hold buttons built into my display so people can go directly to placing holds.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a nice option for a library, so for sure, if we can get like get them building their new library lists and then hook up a report to that.
Yeah, and like that's one thing that we're gonna do too is set up so that our staff can build, like if they want a special display, we can be like, okay, build it in the list. Like if they want, you know, like a summer reading special display or something, then they can set it up in a list and we can plug that in.
Yeah, really all you'll need to do is create the list. You can just plug or create the reports. You can just plug in the list number, right, as a parameter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And then we can just like either add that or swap it out with whatever else. Like if we want to replace the youth slider on the youth babies page with the one with the list for a while, then we can do that. So yeah, looking forward to what we're going to be able to do with it. Oh yeah, and then you can put in like your oh okay, so Overdrive catalog, you can enter your Overdrive catalog URL if you want the option to make bookshelves link directly to Overdrive instead of your main catalog. So I don't know that it does anything except searches Overdrive when you click on that. So if you don't have your stuff cataloged to say, yeah, we have a copy in Overdrive, that could get tricky. And same thing with Cloud Library. So. And you can also customize CSS on the regular CSS. So if you want like all your sliders, unless you say differently, to have something other than black for the border around the book images, you can set that for all your sliders. It's pretty slick.
I'm trying to think if I did anything exciting since last month. I don't know if I did. I know we talked about last month, we were talking about using API points to pull data into pages using jQuery, which Lucas gave me some code and it sort of worked. I had some problems where it would come up back with like an undefined author. So I did revert back to just using a report for that for now. And I also used a report to indicate on the record whether a club hold had been placed yet on the record. I don't think I showed that off. Did I show that off last month? I thought it was kind of snazzy. I can show it off again, I guess. Doesn't matter. So let me share that window.
Christopher and I asked Lucas to do a video with us, but he couldn't make it last week. So we might be doing that in the future with the API stuff.
Yeah, sorry about that, George.
That's okay.
You asked me again. Like me to do.
Christopher came up with something else that was different to do a video about, and then we discovered that it only worked on his system. So we scrambled together and did something at the very, very, very last minute. So it worked out perfect. It was just like every other video we've made.
So are you seeing my potential club holds report here?
Yes.
Okay, so what I've done is, that's not the report that's pulling this, but that's the one I'm using to keep track of my clubs. So I'm using a report to pull in the author right now. I was using the APIs, which was cool too. And then on this tab here, whenever you click clubs, I have a big notice that says when the club hold was placed on this record, so that if someone goes in to place a club hold, they know I shouldn't do that because it's already been placed once, and I don't want to put any old holds back on there again. And that is using just a simple report, I think, that looks at I think it's this one, the most recent club for associated bib. So the jQuery passes the bib number to the report and then pulls the data back. So it's running the report, finding the club ID and the hold date, and then it's associating the two and telling me when the hold came through. So I thought that was kind of snazzy.
So you must not have situations where more than one club might place a hold on something, huh?
Yeah, so our goal right now is to have one hold per each author's new title.
Okay.
So like this new Mercedes Lackeys came in, so we went in and put the hold on it. And we don't want to put the club hold on it any further than that, because we are doing consortium-wide club lists. We don't have each library doing their own club lists.
I have some libraries that are using it just for like their book clubs. So I guess that would, what I would want is I would want the jQuery to say which club put the hold on it.
Yeah, and I'm also using different templates in my clubs. So like I could potentially filter it down so that it's only focusing on like an author club. So if it didn't go, so I've got large print clubs and regular print clubs, but if I had like another template that was book clubs, I could have it ignore that and not show the notice at that point. I'm still like cranking away on these reports. It's really ugly because I'm joining based on the club name, and I'm trimming the like comma off of the author field so that it can join correctly. And that mostly works, but then there's the Tom Clancy's and the James Patterson's when he's writing with Bill Clinton, where the author doesn't go into the author field, it's just in the 700. So that's one of my current challenges. I've got a report written called Crashy, I think, that is leveraging the 700 field, but I haven't gotten that logic kind of worked into the main report yet. Yeah, there it is right there. And it's a lot slower than the other reports. So it's become kind of a monster. And we're looking at doing more. So we're looking at adding audiobook clubs and juvenile book clubs. So that's what I've been beating my head against lately. And you can see I've got a bunch of different club reports because that's been my focus. So this one, it's leveraging not only the author field, but also it's going out to the metadata table to get the 700. And yeah. Yeah, so my stupid Jimmy P column for James Patterson is making sure that it links in the things that James Patterson is involved with, but maybe not necessarily he's the main author on. And I'm seeing that Bill Clinton book isn't here. Yeah, there it is. So this is one of the ones I was having a problem with because Bill Clinton is in the 100, so he's in the author field. But we want to put the hold on for the James Patterson Club because it's technically a James Patterson book. So I needed to pull that into the report. even though James Patterson isn't the main author. Same thing with Tom Clancy. He's super dead, so he's not listed in the 100 field, but he is in the 700 field as a contributor. So I can pull him in, and then I can place the hold for the Tom Clancy Club, which is really the Jeff Robin Club et al. Don Bentley Club.
Sounds to me like authority control would help you if there was an authority.
Sure,
So
we're not
then-
gonna.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. Our authorities aren't terrible, but they're not in any way, shape, or form usable at this point. So
I'm surprised just the discussion hasn't summoned Heather Hernandez.
you have to say it
Or
3
talk about-
times in a mirror in the dark, and then she'll show up.
Yeah, we're having some authority problems also, but I think we're gonna try to clean them up some.
Have we gotten anyone in the catalogers special interest group to just authorities clinic at koha-US this year? It sounds like it would be really useful.
I don't remember any authorities discussions, presentations being tabled in the list of presentations. Is Jason and Lisette were in those meetings, and so was Barbara.
I don't think
All of us
so.
were in those.
Yeah,
Were in that meeting, and none of us remembers that. So
it would be a good workshop day type thing, I think, but I don't know that it doesn't seem like Heather's gonna be there, and I think we would need her. But maybe there will be an expert on site, and we can get somebody to get together a ad hoc authority
Yeah, I'm like,
workshop.
who else is good with authorities? I know that whenever I put in a ticket about authorities, Andrew's who gets back to me.
There's a few people, but I would say we are also trying to find our version of Heather Hernandez to take the authorities tickets over here. So maybe she can do like a authorities boot camp or something, so we can get a few other people trained up on the help authorities, and then just have like a patrol car of catalogers pop up. Wouldn't that be fun?
Maybe we can talk her into doing something for the education committee. I think has she done anything on authorities yet?
I don't think so. She might have talked about them a little bit in her reference guide that she made, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it comes up all the time at the SIG. I mean, people ask questions and get answers, so it could be a good focus topic. Maybe something after the conference for filling springtime educational voids, something like that.
Well, I have a question on, we added a patron attribute so that it will display on our self-registration form. Is there a way to actually make that field required?
You can't use the system preferences.
Yeah.
And the reason is because on the OPAC, those attributes just get labeled as patron attribute 1, patron attribute 2, and so forth. So you could try to do it that way, but the thing is let's see.
It's even worse on the patron side. It doesn't label them as attribute 1 or whatever. It labels them as a random string every time. I have a bug about it.
Yeah. Right. So it can be sort of done with jQuery. The problem is it looks a little different when you do it that way than the rest of the ones that are properly done through the system preferences as required.
Mhm.
So you can quasi make them required with jQuery.
Okay.
It is a little weird too as a user if you get one sort of required error and then a second type of
Okay.
required error.
You could employ my cataloging strategy where you make it look required, but it's not actually required.
Yeah.
And scare people into it.
And that may be what we do.
Well, and we can actually stop form submission with jQuery to sort of they're a little bit better than just making it look required. There's a bug about this. I'm looking for it now. It's very old.
The best bugs are always the old ones.
I
In
put my
2008, and nobody's commented on it.
I put my two bugs about patron attributes in the chat. If anyone else is.
Yeah,
Interested in those.
the multi-branch thing you mentioned is tricky too, because you can have attributes that appear for some branches, but
Not others.
although that's more of a staff client problem than the OPAC.
So then it's hard
What-
to make things required because it has that it just shows up as like patron. You have to put like patron attribute 1 in the required field, but you might have it like we have a different one than Lewiston has.
Right, you might
I
have.
think what Christopher suggests, that making the ID of the element based on the attribute would probably go a long ways to fixing that.
I think the jQuery I currently always use looks at the label, so the text, so it says,
Yeah.
there's also a bug 28473, which would be helpful for these extended attributes.
The jQuery I stuck in the chat box, Lisette, is the jQuery that I use to add a class to our Kanopy required Kanopy permission label. Part of it, though, like that first class where it says .BASEHOR, I've got some jQuery on our systems that every time you're logged in as BASEHOR, the body of the page has a class that matches the branch code.
Okay.
So when somebody's logged in as BASEHOR and there's the label contains Kanopy BASEHOR, then it wraps that whole element in the BASEHOR Kanopy class, and then I can do things with that. So I've got it set up so this is actually, I've been doing this for a while, but I can actually show you. Let me pull up a window.
I don't see any jQuery in the chat.
Oh, I thought maybe I didn't hit enter yet. No, I didn't. Missed one step. Just one lousy little part that I missed. Let me flip over to Leavenworth and share my screen. You know, you mentioned you were using Kanopy there, right?
Yeah, just Latah County's using it.
Do you guys see Koha? Am I sharing the correct screen?
Yeah.
So what I've got is, so I'm logged in as Leavenworth, and Leavenworth is one of our Kanopy libraries. And when we create a new, when Leavenworth goes in to create a new patron, the library, when it's set to Leavenworth, the Kanopy permission will also set to Leavenworth. And then if they change this to another library, it automatically switches to not allowed. And I only give Leavenworth two options, allowed and not allowed. So, but in order to get that, in order to put this, to put an ID on this particular permission, I'm looking at the label, not the actual drop down itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've got naturally, since I'm going on vacation for 11 days, I've got 3 libraries that, like Monday, said, we're going to sign up for Kanopy and we need you to do all this work today. We need you to set everything up today. So I said, no, I can get started on it and I can finish when I get back. And, you know, I said, look for this in July. But this is the full, let's see. That's what I use. And this is what I'm setting up for BASEHOR so that when staff is logged in at BASEHOR and they go to create a new patron, that's the staff that's the jQuery that's going to make that Kanopy allowed show up on. It's gonna trigger that drop down when they create new patrons or when they change the home library of anybody when they're logged in at BASEHOR. So I don't know how you guys are handling that. Is somebody having to go in when you create a new card? Do you have to set that flag manually?
We have it set as, here, I can show you on
Yeah, cool.
one of our, let me open up. Okay. Okay, this is just one of our test patrons. So we have a geographic home library, which when you create a new patron as a Latah County staff member, there's some jQuery that's supposed to automatically set that to the same. Actually, if we go up and make a new patron, it should, that's interesting. It's supposed to set that to Moscow. I might have looked up my jQuery to match. And then we also use that for statistics, like if we let people choose their home library within our district. So like if someone from Genesee wants to pick up their holds in Moscow, we'll set their home library to Moscow, but we still put geographic home library as Genesee. So our statistics pick that up more easily. And that's something that I run a report every week and check all the new cards, and I make sure they have the geographic home library in. And then we set up that patron attribute to send over SIP to Kanopy, and only patrons that have one of the Latah County ones can use Kanopy.
Makes sense.
So
Jason's making a funny face.
No, I've been having problems with Sunflower because we only have 4 libraries active in the Overdrive consortium. But turns out anybody with a CCompine card can log in to any of those four libraries at the moment because of our SIP setup. So I was working with Todd to get the home branch presenting in the SIP connection so we could put the blocks in place.
That's actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because the big difference between Kanopy and Overdrive is that Kanopy, their tech staff says that they cannot see when the home library is sent as the second AF field, Kanopy says that they cannot read the second AF field. They only see the first one. So you have to send it as an additional attribute. But Overdrive should be able to see that because my library is using Overdrive and SIP don't have any problems.
I'm pretty sure Hoopla told me they couldn't see the second AF either. But
that's not been true with us.
Okay, maybe that's been resolved. I'm pretty sure that's how we set it up because that's when we actually started putting them in the second AF.
That's it's interesting that it would work for us but not for you because we've had a Hoopla longer than you and it's been working for us the whole time we've been with Hoopla.
Yeah, I was just digging through tickets earlier when I was working with Todd, and I found one that said the Hoopla person couldn't see that second AF, and Nick had said something about a development to make it work, but then the ticket got closed, so it's been ancient past, so it's probably fine now. I don't know. Hoopla's less of a concern, I guess. Because we've got, everybody has Hoopla here, except for the ones that opted out.
Are the libraries paying for their own Hoopla or is...
Yeah,
okay.
we pumped in money, but...
yeah, we pay 45% of their Hoopla cost.
Yeah.
I use this to test SIP connections.
I have that running right now.
The thing I like about this thing is I've got every SIP connection that we have saved, and then I can import the settings, and so I can just with a couple of touches of a button load a different SIP username and password. The problem I have is that Heather and the people before me didn't know this tool existed, so they set up 90% of the SIP connections they set up were telnet connections. And so we have about half of the SIP connections are telnet connections and half of them are the socket connections. And so there's just a lot of, we can never keep everything straight. Liz has had to help me twice this week already with SIP problems. So I'm
Liz was
hoping all the
probably
SIP.
part of that setup though. So
Hmm?
wasn't Liz historically part of that setup?
Probably. Yeah, that's probably true. You can test the telnet connections with a terminal, of course, but it's a lot clunkier than this because you can't really save them. But you definitely, if you use a SIP username and password and log in, you'll definitely be able to tell if that second AF field is being sent or not.
Yeah, and we've got one connection where it works and the rest where it doesn't. So I was working with Todd to get that hooked up for the. So we have SIP connections for each individual Overdrive user. We have one SIP connection for Hoopla that everybody goes through. And then we have a bunch of other. Oh, we have a bunch set up for LibKey. So there's a big mess in there for us too. But for the most part, it works, and it's not as complicated as your situation. So I'm not complaining.
The other problem I have with SIP is that the username and passwords they created are often like SIP user number 1, and the password will be SIP user number 1 in all caps. I'm trying to ferret those out too, but it's kind of a pain.
Yes, I have the same situation. The old ones are like SIP user 8, SIP user 9, and then the new ones have like OD for Overdrive. LibKey is SIP key, which is nice. So we can identify the newer ones, but the older ones are a little messy.
So how are we going to kill the next 8 minutes?
Slowly and painfully.
I think there's no harm in wrapping up.
That's also true.
7 minutes to refill your water bottle or grab more coffee before the next meeting.
Or there's always just staring.
Well, I'm going to go refill my water bottle. I'm glad to see all of you this week. And I think, Lisette, I'll catch you in the book club meeting later this month.
Yes, next week, right? Or 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks, because
2 weeks.
very end of June.
Yeah. You should join the book club meeting if you have not yet.
Mm-hmm.
When is that?
Spend about 5% of the time actually talking about the book, so it's very optional.
Yeah. It's the last Wednesday of every month at, is it 5 Pacific or 5:30?
5 Pacific, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 Eastern.
That's when I'll be on vacation. So.
In Idaho, so it'll be 5, right?
So I won't come. Wednesday, I think Wednesday is Marie's birthday. No, Thursday is Marie's birthday. So I'm busy.
I think I'll be finishing my project this time, Margaret.
Where's some wood?
Yeah,
Knocked on it. We're good.
Yeah. because I've made a lot of progress since our last meeting.
All right.
So,
I'll check it out then. Have a
Sounds
great week,
good.
y'all.